This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
What we're exposing today is a diabolical breach of trust.
We have seen adversaries that never thought about targeting water or electric infrastructure start doing so.
Today, I think, is a sad and embarrassing day for this committee.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Finding fraud in Philly. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. Pennsylvania in the headlines for the wrong reasons today after federal and state officials announced a big crackdown on what they say is a $4 million Medicaid fraud scam they found in the Philadelphia area. CMS Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz.
What we're exposing today is a diabolical breach of trust, a violation of the sacred bond between patient and caregiver.
U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, David Metcalf, says many of the alleged fraudsters were blatant about their actions, including one who was caught up in a drug raid.
When DA agents raided his house while he was being arrested, he said, "Hold on, I need to clock out of my shift." And when the agents asked what he meant by that, he said, "Everybody is doing this. If that's a problem, you'd have to arrest the whole city."
Officials say the Northeast Strike Force team is going to be expanding in Southeast PA, adding fraud prosecutors to try to further root out fraud in the state. A federal judge has issued a split verdict in New York State's battle with the federal government over ICE activity in the Empire State. Family Life's Sarah Harnish.
The judge has ruled the state's ban on local cops cooperating with ICE is an appropriate means of protecting the public welfare. However, that same judge also blocked a key provision of the law that banned ICE agents from wearing masks or requiring them to display an ID. New York's Attorney General has sent a letter to local law enforcement agencies ordering them to end their cooperation with ICE by August 25th. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Several states reporting cyber attacks on their water systems to the FBI. Those states include Minnesota and Michigan. The FBI hasn't named any official suspects, but multiple reports say it was Iran behind those attacks. Robert Lee, CEO of cybersecurity firm Dragos, tells Fox News that Iran's been behind past such attacks and says many U.S. water systems are pretty easy prey for hackers.
We have seen adversaries that never thought about targeting water or electric infrastructure start doing so because AI models have told them to do so. We responded to a case earlier this year. It was a breach of the Mexican government. An AI model told the attacker, who was only interested in their normal email systems, that the attacker should pivot and target the water network because it'd be a great idea and it would make their attack even better.
7 states have been impacted by those external attacks, though the FBI isn't saying which other states. Wildfires still burning in Spokane, Washington at 0% containment. ABC's Alex Stone.
The sheriff saying 14 people are unaccounted for, but incredibly, nobody has been killed or even seriously injured, despite the flames moving so quickly.
The Spokane County Sheriff also says a man with a prior out-of-state conviction for manslaughter has been arrested for arson in connection with one of those fires and is currently being held on $1 million bond. A lot of politics today. The Senate Judiciary Committee voting 12-10 along party lines to advance Todd Blanche's nomination to be the next U.S. Attorney General. However, Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse wasn't too happy about it.
Today, I think, is a sad and embarrassing day for this committee.
This sets up a final vote in the upper chamber, likely to be held in the coming days. Some significant national politics in play today concerning control of Congress and the upcoming midterm elections. President Trump calling Representative Max Miller on Monday to raise concerns about the Ohio Republicans' re-election campaign following allegations that Miller assaulted his ex-wife, Emily Moreno, and their 2-year-old daughter.
Miller used to work as a senior advisor in the White House to Trump during the first administration, but we know that they did have a phone call and that Trump expressed concerns over his candidacy and said it was in jeopardy. Now, according to sources, Miller did tell Trump that he was going to stay in the race.
ABC's Catherine Falters. Miller adamantly denies the allegations. And to Michigan, which is one of 4 states holding primaries today. The spotlight is there because of the Democratic U.S. Senate race pitting insurgent progressive Abdul El-Sayed against establishment-backed Congresswoman Haley Stevens. Mixed feelings among these Michigan Democratic voters, telling Fox.
I voted for Stevens because she's a good Democrat. She's trustworthy.
I voted for Abdul El-Sayed. I really believe that our country needs a non-establishment type of person at this stage.
He's a very good candidate. He's smart. I'm looking for a change.
It gives me a lot of anxiety because I know Haley is the person for this job.
The race has divided the party, with fears within the DNC that an El Sayed victory will pull the party even further left and hurt their midterm hopes to regain control of the House and Senate. And an interesting legal test concerning the Ten Commandments continues in the state of Texas. A new lawsuit claims that posting the Ten Commandments in public schools there violates a newly passed parental rights amendment. But Jonathan Covey with Texas Values disagrees.
Parents don't have a constitutional right to remove historically significant subjects from the public school curriculum. Public education has always included subjects that families may disagree with. The question is whether the legislature can recognize the historical influence of the Ten Commandments, and we believe the answer is yes.
Covey has long argued that the Bible needs to be highlighted in schools as a way to teach kids about the foundations of Western civilization. There have been a lot of attempts to block the posters, but so far they've all failed in the courts. Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's Mission Pulse feature. Our Sarah Harnish speaking with an area doctor who's about to lead a medical mission team deep into Guatemala. That's coming up after Weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. After a terrific day today, we've got a nice night tonight. Friendly high pressure in Pennsylvania will see to it that our weather stays rather pleasant right into tomorrow. But as that high moves offshore, merges with the old Bermuda high, a sweep of humid air will envelop our region tomorrow night and Thursday, and the approach of a front will serve to spark some showers and thunderstorms then. In the meantime, a gorgeous evening. Overnight, it's starry and serene with low temperatures dropping towards 60. There'll be some patchy fog again in some twin-tier rural valleys. Then, for tomorrow, it's partial sunshine and warm, but during the afternoon, clouds will build into parts of Pennsylvania, especially I-80 and south. There will be a couple of showers and rumbles, high temps 80s. Then across the board Wednesday, variably cloudy, humid with some showers, a couple thunderstorms, high temperatures Thursday in the 80s.
Thank you, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Now, it's no longer just Niagara Falls. Homes on Grand Island in New York have now been identified by the EPA and DEC for radiation testing. This official tells WGRZ.
This has been going on for many years in this area, so there's no quick solution to this, and we're dealing with science here. So as we all know, science is a process. So we're in the process of gathering information now, and at the same time, while we continue to gather, we're also analyzing that data. So all of that is happening simultaneously.
Residents say they can't wait for years to find out whether or not there's cancer-causing radiation beneath their property.
I wish they all knew right away. You know what I'm saying? Get it done tomorrow. It's my thing. But the sooner the better, so we know what we're dealing with. But it is what it is. It takes time to process everything. People got to be cooperative, and that's what I'm trying to be.
During Monday's regular meeting of the town board, a resolution was passed to allow the two agencies to conduct testing on 15 to 20 homes on Grand Island. The Niagara County Health Department confirming a third bat-related case of rabies. They're urging residents to ensure pet vaccinations are up to date to prevent exposure. The latest case happened in the city of North Tonawanda on July 16th when a puppy that wasn't old enough for its rabies vaccination was exposed and had to be put down. New York Congressman Tim Kennedy has announced his support for a trio of federal bills aimed at addressing food insecurity.
If you look behind us, you see a Save-A-Lot that was on Genesee Street. But today the shelves are empty, doors are locked, and this neighborhood has lost a grocery store, one that was easy to get to by car, by bus, or by foot. And for a lot of families here, it's more than just an inconvenience. It's the difference between fresh food and processed food.
Kennedy holding a morning news conference in Buffalo. The Food Deserts Act would direct the U.S. Department of Agriculture to award grants to help grocery stores operate. The Health Food Access for All Americans Act would create tax credits for stores and food banks, and the Healthy Good Financing Initiative Reauthorization Act would reauthorize a public-private partnership through 2030 that helps bring grocery stores to underserved neighborhoods. The Penn State Nittany Lions wrestlers with a trip to the White House this morning thanks to their 2025-26 NCAA National Championship win. President Trump greeting the Penn State team at the White House Rose Garden this morning to celebrate their dominant national championship run. And also in sports, Governor Kathy Hochul is looking to bring the Olympics back to the Empire State. She was in Lake Placid Monday, touring facilities and meeting with Team USA athletes.
All the Orta facilities, top-notch, world-class, and that is why the world is paying attention. The athletes want to be here. I think we're going to build on what we saw with Milano and Cortina. There's a lot of synergy, but also I think with the opportunity to have New York City involved, it'll really enhance our chances of being selected as the bid.
Hochul previously announced an exploratory committee to look into the possibility of hosting the 2042 Winter Olympics jointly in Lake Placid and New York City. Hochul says she hopes for the committee to report back their findings on potential costs and earnings within a year. Up next, highlights from today's Mission Pulse feature are Sarah Harnish speaking with Dr. Joe Depra of Hornell, New York. He's leading a medical mission team deep into Guatemala this weekend, making their way into remote areas to give people medicine and give them Jesus.
Tell me about New Impacto Ministries and what happens when your feet hit the ground in Guatemala.
Impacto Ministry is a ministry in Guatemala that is Christ-centered. Really, their goal is to bring people to the foot of the cross, to bring people to salvation, and they use various different methods to do that, one of which is medical care for people in villages in Guatemala in the mountains that don't have access to medical care or to medicines. What we do is we go there for a week. We are transported by them up into a village, and we set up a clinic in a church usually, and we see up to 100 people during the day. There's usually me and two other Guatemalan doctors, and people are coming to us with their needs and their medical concerns, and it's just a fantastic opportunity for us to be Jesus to people.
What does a day look like?
We are bused up to this village, and we don't know what it's going to be like when we get there. Usually there's a church which is maybe the size of a large living room. They have plastic tables and chairs, and we set up a medical clinic in that space. And then people will come in and they get their vitals taken, they get weighed, then they see one of the doctors, then we give them medication. What's great about it is Impacto has churches that they've planted or pastors that are friends, and we'll go there, and then the people from their community come into their church and get cared for. And I often will say, to a particular individual, Jesus sent me 3,000 miles to talk to you. We pray with all of them. We generally have between 5 and 20 Guatemalan people that give their lives to Jesus during those trips.
How long have you done these trips?
2009 we started, and then took a break for 7 years, and then it's been every 6 months since then, since 2016 until COVID.
Wow.
And then we were off, and then we've been going back.
Why do you keep going back?
Number one, because God is called, and there have been times when I've been like, I don't know if I want to go twice a year, and I have not got permission from the Lord to not go back. They have it set up so well that you just want to go back to see your friends. It's almost like a family reunion, but then you're also serving the Lord, and they're also ministering to us. And I personally totally enjoy taking new people because it just opens their eyes to see authentic Christian people that have nothing, that are happy with nothing. And we're worried about all our, if our cell phone isn't the best one or whatever. And these folks have nothing, and they're just love Jesus. And it's just a wonderful thing.
Today's Mission Pulse feature, you can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Proverbs 15:16 says, "Better a life with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil." Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. A bigger paycheck can be a good gift, but it is not always the same thing as a better life. Sometimes more income comes with hidden costs, more stress, less time at home, a strained marriage, neglected health, or a hurried walk with God. And when that happens, Scripture invites us to ask whether the price is too high. This isn't about despising income. Work is good, provision is a gift, and wise planning matters. But when you're weighing a new opportunity, don't just ask what it pays, ask what it requires. A smaller life with peace before God is far richer than great wealth surrounded by turmoil. Get biblical answers to your financial questions in the FaithFi community. Download FaithFi, Faith and Finance in your app store or visit faithfi.com.
Thanks, Rob. Finally at 5.
Chocolate chip cookies, you gotta have more. You can bake them in the oven or buy them at the store. But whatever you do, have them waiting at my door. And I'll love you all my life.
A big thank you on this National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day to one Ruth Graves Wakefield, a chef, dietitian, and entrepreneur who is generally credited with inventing one of the most beloved treats of all time. It was 1938. Ruth was running the Toll House Inn in Whitman, Massachusetts, when she added some Nestle chocolate to her cookie dough, expecting it would melt. It didn't. Instead, she accidentally baked the first ever batch of chocolate chip cookies, though she called it a chocolate crunch cookie. Her recipe was published, eventually selling the rights to Nestle in return for a lifetime supply of chocolate. It's estimated the average person today eats about 35,000 cookies in their lifetime, and a majority of those cookies are chocolate chip. In fact, we Americans eat about 7 billion chocolate chip cookies annually, about half of which are homemade. No better smell to come home to. And that's the world we live in for Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.